Hi everyone, welcome to the Your Life Unfiltered podcast with your hosts, Kituko Fari and Deepam Jain. Today we have special guests, Ashna and Edu. Ashna and Edu, if you guys want to quickly introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Ashna. I was born and raised in New Jersey. I grew up here for all my life with my parents, my brother, my grandmother. So I grew up in like an Indian household, which consisted of traveling to visit some family all the time and family vacations, which is how I really fell in love with traveling.
Awesome.
Yeah. And Kitu and Deepam, thank you so much for having us on. It's a pleasure to meet you guys. And as you mentioned, I'm Edu Rigonato. I was born in Brazil, but I moved to the U.S. at a young age. I did go back and forth between America and Brazil a lot. So while growing up, which I think is what inspired me to travel as much as we do now that I'm older and have more opportunities to do so. At the moment, I own my own UX design agency called Tourist. That's by design, basically, because I'm a tourist and we're tourists everywhere we go. So that's kind of where the name came from as far as our design agency. Our focus is we help startups with their user experience issues, and we do search engine optimization for small businesses. I'm very focused on helping small businesses because I feel just, growing up kind of all over the place, I feel like the small guy always gets put behind, and they're the ones that need most of the help. So our focus is to help 500 small businesses by 2030. And growing up, my dream was always to see the world. I would watch Jackie Chan Adventures and just glamorize about being like an archaeologist and digging up stuff and seeing parts of the world that not many people had, minus the kung fu, of course. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
Okay, that's awesome. So what's been your experience, since you've experienced both cultures, but what's the juxtaposition between culture in the US versus in Brazil?
Oof, that's a good question. Starting with the heavy hitters today.
Hey, it is called Your Life Unfiltered, right? It is called Your Life Unfiltered.
The biggest one, I mean, I remember just when I first came here, the biggest issue, or not even an issue, the biggest difference to me was like the size of everything, right? I know they say everything is bigger in Texas, but it's like smaller everywhere else even. And so we will go to the restaurant and like everything's super sized. Starbucks, the coffees was just so big to me because we're just used to like drinking it small. But I think the biggest thing for me was just like the difference in culture. Brazilians were very family focused. We're very like, we just want to take things slow, kind of relax. And here it's just, especially in the East Coast, it's like hustle culture and everyone's out getting there. So I think that was like the biggest juxtaposition for me. Yeah.
Got it. What about you, Ashna?
Well, me, I was born here, so not really any difference for me. So yeah.
Yeah, no, but actually, the reason for that question is also because there is a lot of differences between the Indian culture and the American culture. So sometimes there is, it's very hard to find balance between the two. But yeah, that makes sense. I'm glad you had a more smooth experience that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think
So,
like just here in New Jersey, we have such a big like Indian culture, so it's really really easy to find that balance between the American
right,
side of things and the Indian side of things.
right, that makes sense. All right, so let's talk about you guys. So I think before we talk about anything else, just talk to us more about how did you guys meet in the first place, and and how did you kind of get the idea of traveling together, starting a company together? I think we'll go there, but let's first start with how did you guys meet?
Yeah, so we actually met about like 5 years ago, and I think like a couple months into us like dating, I just like randomly one day asked Edu, I was like, "What's your dream?" And he was like, it was to travel the world and be a nomad. And when he said this, like he had no idea that that was like my dream as well. And he was telling someone that was super interested in this. He was just like saying it as like thinking nothing of it. But it's
Mhm.
so and then so when I heard that, I was like, oh my god, no way! Like really, like I want to do the same thing. It also happened to be like right around my birthday when we were having this conversation. He had given me a Polaroid camera for my birthday, so talking about both of those, we were like thinking like, how can we travel the world and really bring that to life? And while we were like, discussing that, we're like, oh, we should travel the world and collect Polaroids in every country we go to, like have a memory of each place we visit. And so we kind of just put like two and two together, and that's where we got like the name Polaroid Nomads, aka Polomatic. And yeah, like over the past 5 years, I think we visited about like 19 countries together and a few states.
That is awesome. And what I actually find specifically fascinating about that story is that you guys were doing the Polaroid trend before the Polaroid trend was a thing, right? Because I feel like the Polaroid trend started like 2 or 3 years ago, and I think you guys have been doing it longer than that. So it's pretty interesting that you guys were onto the trend before it became an official trend.
We created the trend. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Okay, trendsetter. Okay.
Trendsetters.
It's funny because when we started our Instagram page. That's kind of how we began when we started traveling. And yeah, we saw that nobody did this, but then after maybe like a year in, we saw a lot of people doing the same thing. So it's fun.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that actually.
Right, right. So what was your first destination when you started?
Costa Rica.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Are you guys into hiking and things like that, or is it more just general and exploring the famous places or just like beautiful spots?
So
What's
actually,
your
funny story. Like that was one of the first things that we connected about was like
Hmm?
hiking, and our first date was hiking.
Yeah.
Actually, so yeah.
The
Needless
beautiful
to say,
sights of New
we
Jersey.
love hiking.
Where did you guys go, if you don't mind me asking?
Mount Tammany.
Oh, the where the water gap is.
Yeah.
The water gap.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
got it.
Yeah. I convinced this girl to drive like an hour away with the stranger she barely knew. Yeah.
Yeah. Not the brightest idea, but I told some friends. It's okay. I was safe about it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So you guys visited 19 countries in a span of, what was it, a year, more than a year? But like, what was your favorite country?
Yeah.
And it's okay if you guys have different ones. We won't
Yeah.
hold it against you guys. You guys have different answers.
Yeah, I think to visit like Japan, because I think that's kind of something we both agree on. We both really love Japan. But I think if I wanted to move somewhere, maybe like Singapore or something. It's hard to really choose, but yeah, I really like Japan, Singapore, New Zealand, Vietnam. So many to choose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
For me, definitely Japan was awesome. I love anime. I love that Far East culture. But if I had to choose one to live, it would be Vietnam. I think that was my favorite country out of all of them. Yeah, I think it had everything that I love. So
Got
Okay.
it.
That's pretty cool.
What's special about Vietnam? Just out of
well,
curiosity.
yeah. So I mean, when we basically like when you travel for so long, um, price becomes a huge factor as well. You want to make sure that you make that money last. And so Vietnam, I just found very, very budget friendly. But then on top of that, it's kind of like a secret in a way where it's
I
not
see.
popular as being as Thailand, for example, where everyone wants to go to Thailand. It is like Thailand, but like Thailand 20 years ago. So things are still fairly cheap. The people were so nice. You got beaches, you got mountains, you got caves, you got nature, and a lot of good food. And so and independence. Like people don't think like, oh, Vietnam is a communist country, but really they're more capitalist than us in the sense where it's like if you want to pay for anything, like if you want to buy a motorcycle or something like that, you could just do it, right? So I think
Got it.
Okay. And I actually want to touch upon what you mentioned about anime. And the reason I say that is twofold. One is growing up, I used to watch a decent amount of anime. And then secondly, I actually recall a picture from your guys' page, the Polomatic page, about, what was it, a huge
Gundam?
transformer or
Gundam, yeah.
Gundam? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what it was, Gundam. Yeah.
yeah.
So two questions. Wait, first off, what is your favorite anime? And secondly, do you want to share the story about the life size Gundam?
Uh, yeah. I mean, my favorite anime right now is Mob Psycho 100. I don't know if anyone is familiar with it. I just love it. It's really funny and a lot of action. I love the action in anime. Um, you're not. Do you
No,
have
I'm
anything?
maybe
Yeah.
like Studio Ghibli or whatever.
Yeah, anything from Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
She loves. Yeah,
That's about it.
Spirited Away. Uh, as far as the Gundam goes, I had seen the statue before. It's in Tokyo. It's in the middle of Tokyo, and I always wanted to see that, like just see the statue. But what was funny about that picture is just that every time I would see it, I would just see the statue, the picture of the statue. I'm like, I remember being a kid watching Gundam. I'm like, no, my dream is to pilot one, right? So I found like a location that kind of looked like, oh, I'm on a hangar about to get into my Gundam, and so that's kind of how that picture came about. Just nerding out, really.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, nice. You guys, what's your favorite anime?
So mine's gonna be a very basic answer, but like Naruto and Bleach. Oh, and Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, and all that. So I'm more mainstream, I guess. I haven't heard of some of the ones you guys mentioned. What was it called? Mob something?
Mob Psycho 100.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. So I guess you know a lot of the niche ones that I'm not familiar with.
Maybe.
Yeah,
But you
and
can't
mine
go.
is even more mainstream because I didn't really watch too much anime growing up, but definitely watched Pokemon, which obviously most of us did. So that's definitely a memory that stuck with me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can't go
Pokemon's
wrong with
good.
Pokemon.
So the other thing I was going to ask about is I remember you guys were leveraging drone photography back a couple of years ago before it became even more mainstream. Because I know back in the day, drones were expensive. Like I'm talking before the Mini. I think it was the Phantom and the original DJI Mavic Pro and all that. So could you guys, like what got you Edu into like drone photography and what sparked your interest in exploring that during your travels?
Well, the drone, it's basically like I do a lot of video and film as well on the side, like photography, and so in that sense, you're always looking for a different angle, right? You're always looking for something that not many people have thought of looking at a certain way, and I felt like the drone gives you exactly that. It gives you that first, like that nice stable footage. Secondly, it allows you to see, you know, things from a different perspective, literally, from eagle eye. And so to me, I think like that makes it more beautiful in a sense sometimes. And so that was like, yeah, I want to be able to master this because I also, at the time I was getting into film and photography, and so make sure to have as many nice dope shots as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ashna, you must have loved that, right? You had your picture taken in so many different angles.
Oh yeah, I think it worked out really well because like I don't mind being in photos. I actually really enjoy them. And yeah, he always got all the angles. So I'm always like, oh, can you take a photo from here? Can you take a photo from here? It's like, so yeah, that worked out really well for me.
We would actually like coordinate dresses based on like the setting, so we were like, oh, this color would go really good on this if you do this kind of more. So we planned everything together. All the shots is like a team effort. Yeah.
I think that's also another reason why he really likes Vietnam because unfortunately his drone fell and drowned in like the river in Vietnam. But the good people about Vietnam and our faith, like they helped us get, like they went in this like dirty sewage, like black, like just disgusting, like grimy water. Like this one man got in and was in there 15 minutes, got the drone for us, and actually all the footage was salvageable. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So.
Yeah, so very selfless action there.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's fascinating. And what about the drone? Did it survive? Or, like,
no, it's a trophy now. It exists, but it does not work.
At least you got the footage, so I think
that's all I cared about because that day I had woken up like at 4:00 in the morning to catch the sunrise in this abandoned water park, and it was just beautiful footage. And when it hit the tree and it fell into the lake, that's all I thought about was this footage. And this guy just saw how like upset we were, or especially me.
Yeah.
And then he went in there like cigarette in hand, like
wow.
Searching them. Yeah.
Mind you, we don't speak Vietnamese. He didn't speak English. Like nobody there spoke English, and somehow we were able to communicate, and we got their help. It was amazing.
That is interesting. So I'm just imagining like a lot of hand gesturing.
Yeah.
It's like pointing. It's like this, and like I don't even know how do you explain like a drone. Like you do like bird hand gestures. Or something?
I don't even know how we did
I
it.
don't know. I think somebody saw it and then they explained to him in Vietnamese. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was-
We got very lucky.
And then his daughter took the drone to her
To like their
shop,
house.
to her
Yeah.
salon, and like literally blow dried it for like an hour to see if maybe we could get
Like
it to work.
cleaned it with a
And it was
towel,
just like-
blow dried it. Yeah.
It was just like
Wow.
people do this for strangers, you know, to that level.
And they didn't want anything for it. Like we had to force them, like, you know, give them like forcefully give them money. We're like, no, like we have to thank you. Like, you know, this is we're so grateful. So it's really selfless.
That's amazing. Yeah. Wow. That's that's the beauty of travel, right? You run into so many difficult situations, and then people come to help you out of nowhere, and just you learn so much in the process, and just everything that comes with it. So that's fascinating.
Biggest difference we found, like being in America versus anywhere else in the world, it's like there's so many people like willing to help you, like even with the language barrier. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
I mean that reminds me of my own experience. Just in Spain, I think not too long ago, probably like 4 or 5 months ago. So we were in the northern part of Barcelona, so close to the French border, and the person who was hosting us, he actually only knew the local language, was not even Spanish. I think it was Catalonian or something. And he started talking to us, and it was just really hard for us to understand him. He knew a couple of words of English, and we didn't really understand Spanish. So it was just for the entire hour we just conversed with broken words. But it's just beautiful, like how much effort all of us were trying to put in to have that conversation, try to kind of make sense of what the other person is trying to say, and so on. So it was just a beautiful experience. Really stuck with me as well.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love that kind of stuff. Like I remember one time we were in Cambodia, and there was an Italian guy, a French guy, a Brazilian guy, me, and an American, and I think there was also like a Polish lady, and we're all just trying to speak to each other in like broken English, and it worked. It just works. We figured it out. Yeah,
that's amazing.
So if you could do the travel different and you can learn one language, what language would you learn based on like the countries you visited?
That's a good question.
It's a good question.
Because I bring that specifically because there's a lot of options, right? I know you guys were in China, so like you can do Chinese or Japanese or whatever the Cambodian language is, or Vietnamese. So you have a lot of options. So I'm so curious.
I mean, you would probably speak Spanish. Speak Spanish.
Maybe.
Because of Costa Rica.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Yeah, you
go ahead.
So when we were in Costa Rica, the second day of our trip, so like we decided like, okay, we're gonna leave everything behind. We're gonna travel the world. And second day of our trip, we're at a bus stop. I go to the bathroom. I come back to the bus, and our bag is gone. It's just her book bag. So in that bag is like her laptop, jewelry, her makeup stuff, which I thought was like $200, but makeup apparently is very expensive.
No, you said $40. I know, like it's like $400.
And so like, fortunately, a good Samaritan, there was an undercover cop in the area. He saw the whole thing happen, and he called us. He went into the bus, asked for like who owns this bag. We thought we were like, oh great, we're gonna get robbed like the second time. But I spoke to the bus driver, everything in Spanish, and so I spoke. He's like, no, this is legit. This badge is legit. Whatever. End up going to the police station to fill out a form because he caught the guy. So we had to like fill out a police report. Same day, I had to go to court because the value of the bag was so high that like they wanted to basically press charges on the guy. And so I went to court the same day, like in Spanish, and I'm like, and they made me go through every item in the bag, and I'm like, lip balm. I don't know how to say that. Hair dryer.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So, but it eventually, it worked out. So I think because I spoke Spanish.
Yeah.
But so that's for her.
So how many languages you already speak? Spanish, English, or what else?
And Portuguese.
Portuguese.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Ashna?
Just English, Gujarati, and Hindi. Yeah,
Ooh,
and
that's
learning
so you
Portuguese.
guys still
Trilinguals,
have,
okay.
yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
guys still have about, like, let's say 60-70% of the world covered
Yeah.
of
Yeah. You just
languages.
need Chinese and Arabic, and you'll complete that. complete
I
the.
know.
You will communicate with like half the world population.
Speaking of Arabic, we're actually going to Israel and Jordan next month, so
Yeah.
we should probably brush up on that a little bit.
Ooh, nice. Okay. I actually wanted to, since you mentioned about the whole drone fiasco, I wanted to ask you, what's been the most memorable experience of, across all of your travel experiences? What's been the most memorable one that really stuck with you? Is the drone one the most, or is there anything else?
You want to go first?
I mean, do you have?
I feel like
I
you're
mean,
sleeping.
to me, I don't know. I know the audience doesn't have the video, but right here
Oh yeah.
behind us, this is Mount Fuji. This is the view from the top of Mount Fuji.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
that one I think was really special to me because you climb at night,
Mhm.
and so you get to the top and the sun is rising, and then you see like the sun rising above the second set of clouds because there's like clouds and then there's more clouds up top, right? So you just see like that sunrise, and you just like start realizing how small you are and how like small your problems, how everything is just so small, and like the world, no matter what, the sun is always gonna rise in a sense. Like I don't mean to get like super profound or anything, but like it was just like a moment where I realized like, like my problems are just so small. There's more important things in life, and this view is just the most beautiful thing. That moment just stuck with me around this time.
Yeah, I don't know why I
That's awesome.
forgot that even that's right there. Yeah, that was a beautiful moment. And then the other one that stands out is when we visited Lençóis in Brazil. So it's like this place that I think it's only a couple of months out of a year where like there's like because of the rainwater, the dunes and stuff, the sand dunes like form like 8 water lagoons. Um, and like the area is just beautiful because it's just like sand, sun, and just like water. And I don't know how else to describe it. It's just beautiful. Like, and to me, that was like just an amazing place. Yeah,
It's a desert
Awesome.
of water.
like unforgettable.
Okay, amazing. So, since you guys took a drone to your travels, I know that regulations are very different across countries, especially when it comes to travel, when it comes to where you can fly, where you can not fly. For those of our listeners that may own drones, like, do you have any tips for like how to get around that and how to understand how the laws vary across countries?
Shoot first, ask questions later.
Okay, that is okay.
No, that works in some countries. Some countries you're gonna get messed up. Obviously, like basically, yeah. Look at the local regulations. Don't just start flying. Ask people if it's okay. Definitely, that's very important. Depends on the country. Some countries they just will not let it fly. Like right now, we like for example in Brazil, we're not allowed to film with the drone, and we were at Lençóis like she was mentioning, which is like the desert with water. But I applied for like a license beforehand because somebody told me about it, and but because I speak Portuguese, I was able to do the whole process, and so we were able to fly the drones. So like always check the local regulations, and if there is any paperwork, like just do it because it's like this footage. First of all, it's so difficult getting to some places. Like you're probably not gonna go again, and so for someone like me that loves like looking at footage and yeah, it's worth just doing your background check. And but if all else fails, like just shoot, and that's like literally we had to do that in some places.
No way. Okay, awesome. Since you guys travel so much, do you have any tips for, saving money, or any ideas, credit cards that you guys use to reduce the expenses overall?
Yeah. So definitely get like a travel like credit card. Like we have like the venture card with Capital One. So like by the end of our trip back home was like all paid for because we had so many like points and like miles racked up. I mean, and then we also like tried traveling in like hostels, which actually a lot of countries they have hostels for like stays for nightly stays for like $10 or like less. And places like Japan, they're a little bit more expensive, but they're actually like kind of like sometimes like almost as nice as hotels. Um, so you'd be surprised. Like I know sometimes like when you think about hostels, which like I actually did this in the beginning. Like I didn't know about hostels until you told me about them. I was like, ew, like a hostel. Like I don't know. I don't want to stay there with other people. That's weird, whatever. But it turns out it was actually like one of the best experiences because we met like so many people that way. We definitely saved money. And then there was actually other times where we found it affordable to stay in Airbnbs because for two people, it's about the same price getting like two beds or a private room in a hostel versus like an Airbnb.
Yeah.
What else? Try to buy whatever you can for your trip beforehand. But if you forget anything, like you can buy it always like in other countries. Like we definitely went shopping in other countries like for clothes and things like that because it was like cheaper there. So like don't overpack either, but get your essentials.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Always keep like don't pack much, like she said. Like you can just buy stuff in some places, but also just do laundry. Like we carried we bought a pack of like detergent, so we everywhere we would go, we'd be able to do laundry. And what else is there? Like yeah, credit cards. Use your credit cards wherever you can because the rate of conversion is a lot better than like exchanging money at the airport. But if you are going to exchange money, never do it at the airport. Go into town. Just exchange a couple of bucks at the airport. Go into town because the rate is going to be a lot better there.
And if you're going to exchange money, you travel with big bills because
Yeah.
you'll get more for it. The conversion is better.
Yes, yeah. That's also a thing that we learned in some countries. Like trading 20s is not as valuable as trading 100.
Oh, really? Okay, I was not aware of that one. That's a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the other one is that you mentioned. It's super basic, but also super important because people tend to miss that a lot, which is doing your laundry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because people carry everything. Oh, I'm not gonna repeat my outfit, blah blah blah, and just end up carrying too much. So that's a good one. Yeah, I'll definitely follow that one next time.
And also kind of like don't like take like really if you're going for a long trip, don't take like really expensive clothes. So if you want to kind of get rid of something and buy something else, it's really easy to do. Like you don't feel bad about like letting go of something.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And also if you can cook your food. Eating out becomes one of the biggest expenses in your trip. So wherever we would go, we would always like look for a grocery store and a place that has a kitchen. So sometimes like the hostels, we would make sure like, oh yeah, it needs to have a kitchen. And if we got Airbnbs, it also needed to have a kitchen so that we could just prepare our own food. I think like after the first 4 months, we were just eating PB and J. Left and right.
Yeah, I don't think we've eaten those in like 2 years now.
That's actually pretty interesting because what I'm thinking of is that you also probably become a much better like cook just by different using like being very scrappy with your ingredients, right? Because like you don't know what ingredients you're gonna get in different countries, so getting very scrappy with ingredients and figuring out like how to experiment with like the right stuff to get a good meal out of everything.
I think like most people would have, but like we don't really enjoy cooking too much. So we like would just make the most basic meals. And then I think actually like towards the end of our trip, we kind of got with COVID, we got like caught in that, and so we were stuck in like Thailand for like a month and a half, or about a month, I think. And I think that was like when we actually did the most cooking and cooked the most versatile meals because we were actually in one location long enough to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Fascinating. All right. So switching gears a little bit, Ashna and Edu, I want to talk a little bit more about tourist. I know we discussed about this at the beginning of our conversation before even recording. So talk to us about like how did you get the idea of starting tourist in the first place? What is it about? How are you helping small businesses? And what can I achieve out of this?
Yeah, I mean, so like tourist kind of came from Polomatic, right? In a sense, where we were traveling a lot, we were doing a lot of social media stuff. And yeah, so like I didn't that's kind of what we were doing. Sometimes we would even like get free accommodation in exchange for like photography. We would take pictures of like hostels or hotels or whatever. So that's kind of how it started, like a service for hire, right? But then like this pandemic came and we were kind of stuck. Like she mentioned, we were stuck in Thailand for a while. Then we decided, okay, we're gonna come back home. Like there's no place to just stay paying for all of this and doing this. Um, so we came back home and I was kind of lost. You know, like what do I do now? Like before then I used to work at the airport. You know, people aren't really traveling, so that's not really a job that I can look for. Um, Luckily, like I had a friend who was a web developer, and he had seen like our photographs and our videos from our time traveling, and he told me like I had a good eye, and a good eye for design and colors, and if I could help him design the websites for his clients, and then he can build it, because he didn't have that kind of like I guess design eye. And so like at the time I was like, okay, yeah, I just need work. So I jumped at the opportunity, and then I was hooked. Like I learned about like web design, and then I learned about user experience, UX design. And then I fell with the idea that, you know, just creating products, digital products that solve actual problems that people have, you know, that have like real life implications in the lives of people. You know, like a well-designed website can do wonders for your business, you know, just by having the right words or the right colors, or you know, even an we design a lot of applications as well for startups. Same thing, you know, if you don't neglect the user experience, if you think about the people that are using, the success is much larger, and that investment alone, actually, like the ROI on that is immense for businesses. So to me, you know, that's kind of what we started. We're like, all right, we're gonna focus on startups and small businesses because
Mm-hmm.
they don't understand the tech world like that, or not even understand. They just don't have the time for it. They need that help. They need that guidance. And so
Mm-hmm.
that to me was like the goal. I want to take these skills that they use in Silicon Valley and other, you know, bigger tech industries, and I want to give it to Main Street. I want to give it to the little guy, and I want to be able to help the people around me, and also, yeah, make a business out of it. So that's kind of like where Tourist came from. The name was, we were working with a lot of travel stuff, so we decided to stay with Tourist. Yeah, and then I also wanted something that was just like one syllable, 1 to 2 syllables only.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just Tourist. Yeah. So
Okay, cool. And how long has it been around for now? How long
Tourist,
is yeah, Taurus?
it's been 10 months.
Oh, okay. So you started it during the pandemic, basically.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Before then, we were kind of working together with building like a website or two here and there. But then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this full time. And then I opened up my company. And
Yeah. So like Polomatic like transitioned when he started working with his friend and figured out like to do like the website design aspect of it. I was also working with him like as a project manager because my actual background from like school and like my previous job was in management and marketing, and I used to be a digital project manager, and I actually currently am like a SEO project manager for another company though. But and so we actually started working together on projects with like on Polomatic, and then that later transitioned to him like starting his own company with Taurus, and me transitioning into like my own career.
Okay. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's where the SEO angle came from, right? Because you said SEO and you also mentioned digital marketing. So it's combining those skill sets that you've developed and combining it with the eye for design, the UX, the UI.
Yeah, so kind of just like took everything that we both know, and like that's basically how Taurus was like born. Like I think we worked out like the kinks with like Polomatic because yeah, like I used to like work on like web design, or like with like just so digital projects and also like print projects, and then like this now beginning of like this year I basically started working on SEO projects, so it kind of just like started like really helping him with what he was doing as well.
Okay. All right. That's fascinating. So one quick question, since you guys are mentioning a lot about color. So are there two colors that don't go together? Like in any like context, I guess?
If it's just two colors, they can go together. But if there are other colors around, then no. Then that really gets complicated. You have like triadic scales. You have like you know, complementary colors. You have a couple of different It really depends, but there are colors that just should not be going together.
Got it.
Yeah.
Or you can stick to a color scheme that which I tend to do because actually I am red green colorblind, so I
Oh,
can't.
wait, you are? I did not. How did I not know this, bro?
You did not know that? No, man, I keep mentioning this all the time. So, like why Facebook is blue because Mark Zuckerberg is also red green colorblind. So,
Oh.
so I just stick to blue for everything.
That's funny.
I can kind of see like the blue screen on your glasses.
Oh yeah, maybe. Okay, I didn't notice that one, but you're right.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Wait,
Yeah.
so is there a strategy behind that actually? To like choose colors that even colorblind people can see? I wonder.
Yes, it is. There's so we develop like design systems and stuff, which is basically really when it comes to design, especially interfaces and websites stuff like that. It's basically kind of like shades of the same color you want to use because that way, people with disability can also tell the distinctions
I see.
of
Okay.
things. And yeah, so like we actually, that's a huge part of UX design is designing for people with disabilities and other issues as well. So yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
And
All
what
right.
about the SEO angle? So I think that one's big because nowadays there's so much competition to be able to be hitting the top of the rankings in any search engine or
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. But is there any like, if you had to say like one or two tips, like what would be those tips? Like, I mean, personally, the one that I know about is backlinks, but I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty of other things.
Oh yeah, there's so many.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a crazy world. It's super competitive. The reason why I started doing it is because like it's hard to talk to a mom and pop shop about UX design, but you say first page of Google, everyone gets, right? Everyone understands how important that is. So that's kind of like our foot in the door kind of thing. But then we took it a step further and we applied conversion rate optimization to it, which is the side of UX as well. So there's a lot of testing. So what we want to do is like not only bring traffic to you, but make sure that that traffic converts. There's no one without the other. Like we don't do just SEO.
Oh,
We do SEO with conversions so that you're not wasting those clicks, especially if you later on you want to do like paid advertising stuff like that. You want to make sure that every click counts as much as possible. So you want to increase conversions.
so that's organic traffic, but what about like advertising traffic? Will you guys work on the advertising side as well? Like your what's it called, your marketing copy, like for different companies that are running ads, paid advertising. Is that a component of Taurus as well, or is it just focused on conversion through organic traffic?
Mostly conversion through organic traffic. This last month actually we started working on ads. We actually hired someone that does PPC campaigns and stuff like that, and pay-per-click campaigns. So that's the next phase of it. As you know, we're a pretty young company, so we're still kind of like working out that program. But I had to bring a unique aspect to it, So that was the focus. Because yeah, like you said, it's so competitive. Like you have to find something, a niche or something that tells you apart. And I'm like, well, I know a lot about UX. Like let's apply that.
Okay, awesome.
All right. So, Ketu, do you want to switch gears? Unless you have any other questions on this topic.
No, I'm good.
Good questions, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we try to go a little bit deeper, right? We don't want to keep the conversation so surface level. So we try to ask those probing questions to go at least one level deeper.
Yeah, I see that.
And to be, for full transparency, I have no idea what you guys talked about. So I learned everything because I work in data science, which is, after you've done everything, what do you do about customers coming in? So anyway,
it's funny you actually mentioned that because I didn't realize until he got into like this part of marketing that like I never really had anyone to talk to about like my work and anything that I did in marketing. And I'm like, now he talks about marketing way more than I do, and I'm like, can you please stop?
So it's like you never get away from work, right? It's like,
no.
Now that you're talking about marketing for Taurus.
We'll be having like a romantic evening, and I'm like, babe, how many backlinks did we order?
Oh man, it's awesome.
I'm basically his business consultant.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I would not be here without her help. Like seriously.
That's funny.
All right, so let's switch gears, guys. So the next segment of our discussion is rapid fire. So as the name suggests, we have a few questions. First thing that comes to mind, and we would like a response for each question from each one of you.
Okay.
And I think it'll be interesting to see, where you guys land on each of these things. All right, let's start. Question number one: tea or coffee?
Tea.
Coffee.
All right, we have one opposites already. Let's see. Let's see if we can give some more.
Mountains or beaches?
Beaches.
It depends. It used to be mountains, but since I met her, I think it's becoming more beaches.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Edu. I think I made you conscious by talking about the opposites.
Well, you guys did have your first hike together, so I guess that counts for something.
Yeah.
It do. All right, so morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Morning person.
Oh, 3 for 3. Okay. What's your favorite comfort food?
Pizza. Basic.
Okay.
Eggs. I love eggs.
All
Makes
right.
sense. Makes sense. What's your favorite virtue in others?
Perseverance.
Just
Loyalty.
Okay.
got it. Makes sense. What's your biggest pet peeve?
I think for mine is like when you're trying to talk to somebody, like it's just like you and them, and they're constantly like on their phone, and it kind of just feels like you're talking to a wall.
We're talking about marketing too.
What about you, Edu?
For me, I guess it would be like getting cut off mid. Like I'm very scatterbrained, and so like when I'm doing a thought and someone cuts me off, I forget it. I'm never gonna finish it. So yeah, that's like a pet peeve for me, I guess.
We're each other's pet peeves, basically. What we just named.
That's perfect. All right, so what's your secret superpower that people don't know about?
No.
That people don't know about. I could rap.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, yeah,
We're gonna have
look
to
at
ask
that.
for a demo
Wow.
later. We have to ask for a demo, like freestyle, or like you write the lyrics beforehand.
I'm a decent freestylist. Not enough to do it now.
It'll be off recording. Don't worry, we'll keep it off recording.
Well, I used to produce music before everything, so yeah.
Okay.
What about you, Ashna?
I don't know. I'm being organized, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not a fun one, but I mean, it got us to travel, so I guess being organized is my superpower.
No, actually, that's a big one. Yeah.
So, were you the itinerary person for all the trips?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
What do you use? Excel or Word or what?
I think a combination of like everything, like either like Google Doc, Pages, Sheets. Just depends on what I'm working on.
Got it.
When we traveled, we had to we wanted to plan. She's like, I don't want to be anywhere cold, right? So that was like the first thing. So we were like, oh, we have to look at like climate patterns and like the best time of year to visit places, and then we had to like get a world map and try to map. And I'm like, this is way too organized for me. Like, I just get up and go.
Hey, it's actually now a monetization opportunity because you guys put in all that work. It's like you can put in, like a quick 5-page book on Amazon. It's like if you're going to Vietnam, this is what you got to do. Check.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could monetize it.
There you go, another marketing idea.
I know we thought about it, but yeah, too lazy to that.
Okay. Okay, so what's a superpower you wish you had?
Is that the question we just answered?
No.
Oh.
Nah.
Wish we had.
Oh, we wish we had.
Like superhero level or just like.
It could be unrealistic.
Keep it open ended.
Okay.
Keep it open-ended. Yeah. Could be unrealistic. Time travel. Okay.
Time travel. Okay.
Yeah. Time control.
Time control. Okay.
Basically, if I like spill this drink right here, I could like just go back and like not spill.
Oh, got it. So that's like the movie. What is it next? It's like you can go back in time and just like keep on replaying the scenario until you get the outcome that you want.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that would be the one. I would definitely.
Or like Hermione had that time turner in Prisoner of Azkaban, right? She goes back in time and undo some of the things. something
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah, I definitely want to do a couple of things.
Interesting. Okay.
I actually like this superpower because, like, for example, for you guys, if you have like a client meeting, right? You can just keep on redoing the client meeting until you get the answer yes.
Exactly.
It's like such a useful ability.
I know.
Yeah,
It's a very interesting one. Yeah.
yeah. I've thought about this extensively.
It seems like it. It seems like
You really thought it through. Good one. What about you, Ashna?
I think the only one that comes to mind is like, I guess, teleportation.
Ooh,
Like, yeah, just being able to just like
Traveling.
yeah, just go anywhere I want at any second.
so you can
I
go
get
to
to like late
Vietnam.
to everything always. So
Yeah, so I guess you guys can go to Costa Rica and Vietnam, your two favorite spots, right?
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, just hop on you on your back.
All right. Okay, so actually that brings us to the end of rapid fire. The next question is not really related to that, but just curious, what's been your biggest accomplishment in the last 1 or 2 years?
I think for like me, it was just going back to like a regular like job and like having that stability after like taking like about like 2 years off, I think. So yeah, like getting a new job, and then we also moved in together. So which we do find it a little different than like traveling together. So that was a pretty big accomplishment for us.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely moving in together. For me, I think really the biggest accomplishment is just growing the business. Like as you can see, like I didn't have too much experience when I went into this, probably way over my head. But like we worked. She helped me a lot first of all, and then I worked a lot of hours, and now we're like, I have a team of 5. You know, like to me that's just like mind blowing how that happened in less than a year. I don't know, but yeah, I think that's like the biggest accomplishment.
Okay. Okay, awesome.
That's fascinating. Congratulations to you for being able to do that.
Thank you.
All right. So actually, so given all of that, you already mentioned about starting a company. So what's next for you guys, really, from here?
Oh gosh. I'm not ready.
Yeah. Put a ring on that finger, definitely. I need my life organized.
Wow.
Buy a house together, and yeah.
Yeah, I think like all the like big next things like you said, like getting engaged, getting married, buying a house, hopefully somewhere warm. I think we want to really be by a beach or something. And like starting
Not a mountain.
No.
Oh yeah, we realized one opposite there, right? One opposite thing there. But so you mean like a warm place like what, like Texas, like Miami, like you're saying like out of state, or like, or do you mean like by the shore?
Yeah, I think we're thinking like either Texas or Florida. I mean I know he would definitely love to like move to Vietnam, but I'm big on family, so I mean it has to be right when we're Indian.
Yeah.
I mean he also has a huge family, being Brazilian, so I think we still need to be like in the States, near our family.
Yeah, the Western Hemisphere.
Western Hemisphere. Okay.
Okay. Interesting.
All right. Do you have any questions for us? Well, actually, one question before I ask that is this your guys' first podcast? And if so, like, how do you guys enjoy the experience?
Yeah, is yours?
I think it's it's my first podcast.
It's our first podcast. Yeah.
It was really good. We didn't know, she's organized, so she was like, she wanted to know like everything that we were kind of going to do, and I didn't know what to expect, and I think you guys have been great hosts. And I would ask you, like, what's your plan for the next 5 years with the podcast?
Sure, Deepam, you want to give your answer first?
Sure. So I think number one definitely is the consistency. So our goal is to have an episode release every single week, and we don't want to miss that. We haven't missed a single week yet since we started, so I'm gonna continue doing that. On top of it, bring more interesting guests like yourselves, who have interesting backgrounds and interesting stories, which we can obviously learn more from, as well as share with the world so that others can get inspiration. and really, and this is Ketul's area, just market the heck out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
I know.
really get build listenership over time and build really strong, like loyal following, so that you know we have our voices and everybody, our guests' voices are getting out there. People are listening to them, and people are taking inspiration from them. So that's really the third one from my perspective. Ketul, anything from your end?
Yeah, well, just for a little bit of context, for since you guys may not know my background that well, but so I actually do have a marketing MBA, and so even though I've never worked in marketing, I've always had an interest in marketing. And then I also run like a bunch of different like social media pages, right? It's like one of them. So the reason why I actually, Edu, I asked you so many questions about drones is I actually operate. Well, first off, I have a drone of my own. I have the DJI Mini 2, and then I operate a drone Instagram page at Gadget Domain. And so like I mean it's just a hobby page, but like I've been very consistent with it, posting like reposting themed related content about
Yeah.
drones for like the last 2 years. And so like grew it from like 0 to like 20K over 2 years. And so like I was really curious because I like drones, and you guys had some great, you guys did some great photography and videography with drones, so I was curious about that. But going back to the topic about the where we see the podcast going, is exactly as Deepam said. The goal is to be very consistent and use that consistency to drive growth. I mean, I tested that idea with the Gadget Domain page, that drone page, and just without even posting any original content, just posting every single day without fail. So, one image and well, most recently, one reel every single day. We were able to grow it up to 20K. So, like, I want to do the exact same thing with the podcast page, just the consistency. As long as we have an episode every single week, we post, a couple times a week just to see where it goes and just bring on higher and higher caliber guests in the process.
Yeah. Marketing is really all. It's just consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys think you would take it to TikTok like eventually with the podcast?
Yes, but I think our biggest challenge is we don't know how to do video editing. We're okay with like photos, but video editing is a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and also you have to plan. The logistics are tricky. We are trying it out. Let's see if we are able to figure out something in the meantime. So logistics are tricky. And also this is our side hustles almost. So
Yeah.
I think it just takes too much time to do video editing. But I think if we reach a certain level, for example, so we can start to outsource some of those things. I think at that level, maybe definitely we will try to get into the video space as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think we know that firsthand. It's definitely time consuming, and especially not in the beginning, you don't really see a whole lot of return on that. So it's hard.
Right.
Yeah, and Deepam already has his hands full with the audio editing, right? Because even audio editing takes a lot of time. So.
Do you guys you use Pro Tools or?
I just use iMovie, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's not the best, but it just works for now. And eventually we want to obviously be more sophisticated with our instruments. So we want to have mics and stuff like that. So we'll definitely get there. It's only been like 3 months since we started, so we're just still ramping up almost. So
16 weeks. I only know that because we're gonna be launching you just launched our 16th episode, and we've just done one a week, so that makes it so easy to remember, right? We do one a week, and we're on episode 16.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Keep at it. It will work. It will work. Why interesting people? Like, did you meet somebody interested in or did you guys just have a conversation one day and you were just like, I think we can make a podcast out of this?
Oh, this is a good story, actually. This is a good story. So
that's exactly what happened. But
yeah, so I actually lived in the West Coast for about 6 months, right? And I had no reason to like live there, but I wanted to get out of New Jersey for a little while, experience living in a different culture, but within the States.
You know the feeling, yeah.
Yeah, so I lived in the West Coast for 6 months, and while I was there, Deepam was one of my friends that I made there, and we were actually just hanging out with the two of us and another friend in Sausalito. I don't know if you guys have been, but it's like this Euro-inspired type of city north of Silicon Valley. And while we were just chilling there, we just talked about like all the really interesting people that we met in the San Francisco Bay Area. And as we're talking, it's like we should definitely keep in touch with them. Maybe we should think about starting a podcast or something. And it was just like something that I forgot who mentioned it, if it was you or me, but we just mentioned that in passing. But then we all agreed that sounds like an amazing idea. And then like a month later, was it me that reached out to you? Was it you that reached out to me? I don't remember.
I think what happened was like I just immediately followed up. I made a Word document. Okay, here's the idea. This is our principle. So we will just follow these things, and then I listed a number of guests, and then I went to Europe, and then came back, and then Ketal had already created the pages, the profile on Anchor, to figure out everything, and just be from then on, it was just a matter of recording everything and just going from there.
Yeah, but backpedal a little bit. The one thing was, I forgot who it was who reached out to who, but basically one of us reached out and said, "Were you serious about the podcast?" And the immediate answer was yes. And so
Wow.
from there we kicked it off, and it's actually been it's been a really fun ride since, because we learned a lot of it about podcasting in general.
Yeah.
Guest acquisition. That's like key marketing on its own, like reaching out to people, the right well, not exactly marketing copy, but I guess message copy, is that the word? But the right message copy to send out to get people. And the best part is like we get to meet fascinating people and actually meet people that we wouldn't ordinarily meet. So like a good example is, have you guys seen the Netflix show like Indian Matchmaking?
I have.
Yeah. So we got like 4 guests from that show on. So that was pretty cool.
That was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a bunch more, but oh yeah. Actually,
Okay,
well, you both spent a lot of time in New Jersey, so probably not. But you know Chavi Verg,
No.
the Miss New Jersey USA.
I think I've heard of her, maybe, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, so we got her as well. So like we have her lined up, so that one's pretty cool. And then we also got like we got a singer lined up, like a pretty big singer, like multi-platinum type of singer.
Yeah.
And a couple other people. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but
we have a few influencers. I don't know if you guys know Vic Krishna. He's an actor based out of LA. I think we're getting him as well.
You guys, are you guys on TikTok?
Yes. Well, I follow it.
No.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know a lot.
Okay, so maybe you guys have come across the video of Sachin Kumar, but he's basically like this actor in LA that just does like Brown inspired comedy skits, and so we actually have him lined up to record tomorrow.
Wow.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah.
So how are you guys going about like getting these guests? You usually just message them on like Instagram, or?
So that's one of the ways, but if I told you guys, you're just gonna die laughing. But like one of the things I do is I look to find on Instagram like some influential people, and I see who they're following, and many times I end up seeing that they're following someone that I know. So then I reach out to the people that I know. It's like, wait, how do you know this person? It's like, I actually want to get them on the podcast guest. It's like, can you send them a DM and see if they're interested? And especially these people that I have, I know, and like they know me. It's like they're more than happy to do it. And so that at least gets the message read, because that's the biggest thing. If you're like sending message out to like really big people, sometimes they never see the message.
Well, that actually happened with him, because like I think he didn't have you added, right? So like your message just it goes in like that.
Request.
The request section, and you don't see it. So he hadn't seen it.
And one thing you should know about Ketal, it's and at least looking from my perspective, he knows a lot of people. He knows like it seems like to me that he knows everybody who's lived in.
I don't know a lot of people. I don't know a lot of people. I know people that know people. That's what it is.
I mean,
but you know a lot of good people, because a lot of times people don't want to help other people, so you have good relationships with your friends.
Exactly. So that counts for something. So.
Yeah. It's so many of these people that we got on, I don't know them personally, but I know someone that knows them pretty well. So it's just worked out that way.
So are you guys just doing like trying to focus on Southeast Asian like audience, or just anybody?
It's anybody, but it's just the nature of like I know a lot of South Asian people, so we've gotten a lot of South Asian guests, but we've gotten a number of non-South Asian guests as well. So like a good example is we got this this guy that is actually gonna be episode 18, so like 2 weeks from now when the episode drops, if you guys are interested, I'll let you guys know. But it's a content creator that basically was in the Air Force. Then while he was in the Air Force, he kind of randomly messaged some people and somehow got to be the videographer for a Steve Aoki concert, an EDM concert. So I don't even know how he did it, but he tells a story. It's a fascinating story. But he basically finessed his way. He bought like all-inclusive backstage passes and got to party on stage with Marshmello, with Chainsmokers, and with like Steve Aoki and stuff. And you're actually supposed to have a license to be able to do videography and all that, right? It's like only the venue can do it. But somehow they finessed their way. They brought in like these Super Duty like video cameras and got to get like all exclusive like backstage footage of all that. And then the funniest thing is he loved this so much, he got in contact with a bunch of people, and then he tried to do it officially. So like he reached out to the organizer that organizes all those festivals, showed him the footage and said I know I wasn't supposed to take that footage, but I just want you to take a look at this content. And if you don't absolutely love it, you can ask us to take it down and we'll take it down. And like, so he showed the footage. They absolutely loved it. They ended up hiring him officially. So he went from like doing it unofficially, like illegally, basically, right? Like you do what you mentioned before. They like shoot it and ask for permission. Basically, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And so like he went from the Air Force, started doing that. Then, interesting story, after that footage got uploaded onto YouTube and everything like that, his the military saw it, the Air Force saw it, and then they were like, okay, we don't absolutely like the fact that you're doing all this stuff on the side, but we do absolutely love your footage. Why don't you go shoot some footage of SpaceX rockets, because we're like doing some tests for the military. And so he actually ended up like taking that experience and using it to be able to film SpaceX rockets going to space and all that stuff. Then long story short, I mean, I don't want to spoil all of it, but he left the military and went on to become a full-time content creator in LA.
Nice. Oh my god. Yeah. Wow, that's an amazing journey.
That's kind of how it is, man. You have to, I don't want to use the word cheat, but you kind of have to cheat a little bit. You kind of gotta, like sneak your way in and do something.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it like it. So yeah, but it works. It works because the drive is there.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you guys would love that. That's like that full episode. So when it drops, I encourage you guys both to check it out if you'd like. I think it'll resonate really well with, I'm sure, with a lot of stuff you guys may have done with Polymatic.
Yeah.
I'm
actually looking forward to that now.
All right. Awesome. I think we probably need to wrap it up. We're getting close to time here. But Deepam, do you want to ask the final question?
Yeah. So before we wrap up, guys, this is a question we like to ask all our guests. So do you have any recommendations for our listeners? And just for your reference, a recommendation could be a book, movie, podcast, TV series, anything that really stuck with you or inspired you in some way.
Go first.
I don't know. Do you?
I have a book, I guess, called Influence by Robert Cialdini. It's just about like, messed up the way to say it is basically it's how to influence people, how to get them to do what you need them to do. In a way that's like, it's more like it's a marketing book, right? But it's really about like little techniques that you can use to get your way. Hopefully you use it for good and not for evil. But I think that book has helped me like open up my eyes in the world of marketing and like things that you can do, like giveaways, how to use giveaways to like influence somebody to do so, stuff like that. I think that book has like really opened up my eyes in that sense and allowed me to like grow my career. So
awesome.
And I guess like just kind of like take a chance, take a risk, or like ask the question. I feel like sometimes people are afraid to like ask the question, and it's like, well, the worst that people could always say is like no. Like you said, like you message people to be a guest, like the worst they're gonna do is say no, like or not read it. Like that's fine, just so like yeah, like I think that's the only thing I can recommend is like always just go for that chance, like give yourself that chance, like just go for it and see what happens.
Shoot that shot.
Yeah.
Shoot that shot. Okay.
Great.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Well, this was absolutely wonderful. I did want to give you guys a chance to plug any social media handles that you'd like to for our listeners here.
Yeah, I think follow at Polymatic and
and just taurist.com. That's TAURIST.com. If you need any UX or any SEO work for a podcast or something like that, we can definitely help with that. But yeah, just check out our website if you need any work.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. This was an absolutely wonderful conversation. If you guys are not already connected to @Your Life Unfiltered on Instagram, please be sure to give the page a follow. This was absolutely great, and thank you so much.
No, thanks for having us. It was great. Yeah, it was a lovely time. Nice meeting you guys and getting to know a little bit better. And I'll be following.
Yeah, I think we both really enjoyed this. So thank you guys. This was really great, especially for our first podcast experience.
Yeah, awesome.
All right, thanks everyone.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.